This video deals with the machining of the vertical cylinder for the 4-column beam engine that I'm making. Facing the ends of the cylinder casting to get everything square, ready for the setup to machine the bore of the cylinder. I haven't shown it, but the outer ring of the end of the cylinder was also machined through to the face, so that eventually the fixed steady could run on it. Probably the mother of all iffy setups. I'm starting to bore the cylinder out using a small 4-jaw and my homemade steady cut out of a bit of checker plate, made it years ago for something I recall not what, to steady this end, and a fairly long boring bar. Depth stop on the cross side is set to about 3 1/4 inches. This bore is technically 3 1/8 inches long, so that will just stop me running into the chuck. Well, that's the plan. It's been a long time since I've done anything like this. And at 3 1/8 inches long, the bore of the cylinder, I'd say I'm entirely happy. I'm taking a 1/10th cut at each pass, i.e. increasing the bore by 20 thousandths of an inch. .7/8 bore is 0.875 of an inch. As best I can judge, this is now 0.873, which is to say a couple of thou under. But I think I'm going to stop. We can always make the piston to fit, or if I make a 7/8 reamer, no doubt that would fetch another thou or so out of the bore and it'll be spot on, so I'm just going to stop. One of the other interesting things about old drawings and design is that all dimensions are in fractions of an inch, fair enough, but obviously with modern tooling and digital readouts and whatnot, you need to sharpen your mental arithmetic, because I find I have to convert everything to thousandths for the purposes of readouts on the machines. The other interesting thing is that there are marks on this drawing, I don't know if they come out, but they're nothing to do with the machining of the castings themselves. These marks are to do with, I believe, something to do with the foundry, to tell the foundry, give them some information about dimensions for the moulds for the castings. But don't ask me how it works, because frankly I just don't know. Nearly in the face of the cover into which ultimately the valve ports will also be milled. I think I've shown this before in one of my other videos, but this is my sort of homemade indexing arrangement for the orientation, spacing of the various holes in cylinder covers and things like that. I have had the most monumental trouble machining up this slide valve, which is ridiculous, but I'm pleased to say that it now works okay, as does the piston, and I will explain in a second some of the difficulties and where this valve differs from any other valve, slide valve that I've ever made. The valve itself is basic stuff. You just have to be careful with the dimensions about the recess to make sure the lands at each end are identical and in fact are the correct length to give the lap and lead and whatnot for the various for the steam ports in and out. The drawings for this design are really quite old. The drawings are I think in 1974, but I should imagine the design itself possibly predates that a bit. What's unusual to my eye is the way the valve is actually trapped on the valve spindle. I don't know if this comes out very well, but what you have to do to stick to the drawing is to machine a sort of narrower diameter on the valve spindle that traps the valve exactly where it's supposed to be on the spindle. Any other design I've ever sort of worked with usually has some sort of I don't know what you call them really, but sort of cross arrangement here and potentially a screw along the valve by means of which you lock the valve where it's supposed to be on the valve spindle. Not so with this. Nothing wrong with the design, just a bit more of a faff. Interesting. Another quirk about this design, and I'm fairly confident I've followed the drawings and haven't made a mistake, but who knows. And the quirk is that the boss here into which the slide valve rod seats and locates comes out a fair way, and there is supposed to be a drain cock there, and bluntly there can't be because there isn't enough room. So I haven't quite worked out yet what I'm going to do about that. I mean, obviously I could shorten this boss, and probably no reason why I shouldn't, and that would perhaps provide clearance, so I might do that. unless I come up with another bright idea. This I think is going to be the steam inlet, but at the moment I haven't machined it off until I'm ready to make the steam inlet. The cylinder is now basically complete, including various covers, the valve and its spindle, and the piston and its piston rod. Please see my next video for further progress on the engine as I make it.